get going here. So it's really a great honor and with enormous excitement that I open this event. I know some here have participated in several boot camps run by me and by our lab. This event is the most venerable. It's the best established in many ways. I think it's the best resourced, and in some ways the most exciting of those boot camps. It is a journey that we're going to be on together, and one that will lead you to discover all sorts of avenues for pursuing inquiry, powerful, flexible, general inquiry into diverse areas of health and social sciences, using this powerful tool of individual and agent-based modeling that we're going to be exploring this week. Now, within this boot camp, we're going to have quite a diversity of types of supports for learning. They're going to come in a variety of forms, in the form of incubator projects, in the form of lectures, in the form of hands-on exercises that can be followed step by step, in-class exercises, building up models and tweaking models, as well as case studies and a couple of additional components as well. So in order to orient you with respect to that and help those in the room here understand particularly a little bit of the resources available to you and how to tap them, I'm going to go into some preliminary slides. I'm going to try to keep my comments on this administrivia minimal so we can dive into some exciting engagement with models. But let's start with just a very brief orientation, if we could. And to do this for our remote participants, I'm going to share my screen here. And I'd ask if anyone in the remote participant group could indicate with, again, with chat, if you're able to see my screen, I'd appreciate it. I'm exhibiting sort of computational dysfunction trying to find the chat window. But if someone could put a thumbs up or something instead of that. There's the chat. Okay. It shifted screens. Okay. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So let's get going with some materials. And for those in the room, this will probably be a constant interplay. I'm just going to get them up on the screens here. Okay. I see I'm now in silhouette, but perhaps that will spare you the indignity of my direct appearance. Okay, so the goals of this bootcamp are to expose participants to the basics of building, interacting with, understanding, and contributing to agent-based models. We're going to be exploring that in one platform, the AnyLogic platform, without fully privileging that platform. I will be speaking about a number of other platforms, from those based in R and Julia, to more established systems like Repast, which provide libraries for agent-based modeling. I'll comment a little bit on ModGen, but I'll give a particular emphasis for AnyLogic as our main tool for interacting with models, building up models in this bootcamp. I welcome participants who may have questions about how similar tasks would be pursued in other platforms, and I'd be glad to engage with them, having used probably a half dozen agent-based modeling platforms over the course of my career. Secondly, we're seeking to give a sense as to the capabilities, strengths, weaknesses of agent-based modeling, vulnerabilities. I'm not here to sell agent-based modeling. It's one component of a toolbox that's quite large in my own repertoire and in the work of our lab. It is a central one. It's arguably the one we use the most, but it's one that has many shortcomings and many components that will sometimes recommend me to another tool, or that will lead to a combination of agent-based modeling with other tools. So I'm going to try to convey some of those trade-offs with you. And again, welcome any dialogue on that. I'm hoping to train those who are seeking to use AnyLogic as a key vehicle, so that you have a broad and versatile repertoire with respect to using models in AnyLogic, building them up according to idioms that are at once transparent, easy to deploy, general, but also that are fairly high performance. We're hoping to make you aware of just how to build models in a facile way with AnyLogic for those seeking to go further with that platform. And in general, we're hoping to create informed consumers and team members of agent-based models, regardless of platform. For those, again, seeking to go further, to provide the supports for example, knowledge on the Java side that will allow you to operate more deeply with AnyLogic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the schedule. The schedule should have been emailed to everyone present in this call and in this room. It'll be posted for those in the room just outside in kind of an evolving fashion on the tripod that you may have seen coming in. Okay, so we'll be successfully replacing the page shown as we make progress through days and as the schedule gets modified. So on any one day, the schedule will typically weave together by design a set of different types of learning supports. There will be conceptual materials. There'll be some days where we start to talk about things like trade-off between system science approaches. We talk about hybrid modeling techniques. In other cases, we'll be talking about model conceptualization, one of the most challenging and yet important and impactful areas of modeling. And for those sort of heavy conceptual materials, I've tried to place them, almost sequester them in the morning sessions, okay? And so morning will tend to go a little bit deeper with more sort of high-level discussion. But we'll have hands-on lectures for some of those times as well in the mornings, and often extending well into the afternoons. By hands-on, I'm going to be asking you, for those here in the room, to follow along either on the computers you're in front of or on your own laptops if you'd like to. Conversely, for those online, it would be, with whatever computational devices you're connecting. We'll be going through some exercises that are going to lead you through successively more sort of sophisticated model building within AnyLogic and running some models, modifying some models. We'll also have project work for those who are here in person for the Incubator component of this event, and discussion periods as well. Now, this schedule, Clausewitz once said, no plan survives contact with the enemy. And I can assure you, you're not the enemy, but comparable comments can be made about schedules and boot camps. So I'm expecting evolution of the schedule. And one of the things that will drive that the most is something I'd like to encourage in general, which is you to speak up about your interests. There is nothing more important in these boot camps than addressing the questions and priorities that you bring forward. You should always feel empowered to interrupt and ask questions. You should feel empowered to come up and make requests about certain material that confused you or where you'd like to go into greater depth or absence from the schedule. And I will do my best to accommodate said requests, okay? So please take advantage of that. I would like the schedule to evolve in a way that it speaks more fully to your needs. And the way in which I know your needs are in large part because of questions that you asked. Thank you for those. There's about 17 people who have filled out the pre-survey for this bootcamp, and that's already very materially inform the schedule design. Keep that feedback coming. And we'll see, how far we progress, et cetera. There are some exercises like with GIS that we could go very far, but we may also rein ourselves back if people are encountering a lot of challenges that they'd like to talk more along the way about the significance. Okay, so important comment here. Agent-based modeling is really distinguished by being at once broad and deep as a methodology. It has a large modeling vocabulary compared to many other types of modeling. In this bootcamp, you will have a brief exposure to some cognate forms of dynamic modeling. You'll see stock and flow modeling from system dynamics. I'll probably give a brief wave to both qualitative sides, causal loop diagrams, and quantitative sides of that. You'll see discrete event simulation. Both of those are extremely powerful methods that agent-based modeling in no way replaces. But the modeling vocabulary for those methods is much more constrained than for agent-based modeling. For agent-based modeling, we have just a dizzying variety of different elements out of which we can build a model. And the challenge is, of course, with the limited time. My colleague, Jeff McDonald, who some of you know, once commented that the biggest challenge with delivering these boot camps for me is figuring out the 95% I don't tell you, okay? And maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe it's only the 90%, but it's way up there. And so I'm going to be highlighting material in accordance with your needs, but if, again, speak up. I have, between 100 and 200 models I could readily trot out. And if I hear your interests, I can probably cover some of them that I otherwise wouldn't think to show. So we're obviously talking synchronously here. I'm really excited about that. And I'd like to make sure the remote participants are empowered by use of that chat to bring forward questions, bring forward suggestions. But please be aware that these materials will also be archived and recorded. I'm going to try to get the videos up within the day they're recorded, okay? And place them up there if you'd like to review them. This bootcamp exhibits strong exertional load on me. And by the end of the day, it's possible that I will lose my voice and I will not record them accordingly. So I'm going to have to modulate my voice. We actually have a sound system in this room that normally we use during boot camps, but it's not hitched up to Zoom. So I'm forced to speak in my natural voice here. And I'm going to have to modulate that. So if anyone in the room cannot hear me, or if anyone online also enjoys the benefit of no longer hearing my voice, please flag it to me, and I will try to deal with the audio situation, and maybe I can simultaneously broadcast or something. I'm just concerned about the feedback effects, et cetera. I will try to remember to record things, but if I forget, please remember to remind me. Those online will be particularly aware of that, probably, but sometimes I mess up. Okay, let's talk about resources for this bootcamp. I've aspired to compile you a broad set of resources, and I would invite anyone online or in the room to try exploring these right now. And just to kick off the kind of interactive component of this bootcamp, I'm going to just show you here, give you a sense of some of these resources. So we have the schedule in here. We also have a set of background material that sort of provides general material on agent-based modeling books, sort of really good, thoughtful articles, et cetera, and all the links that I've just mentioned. Excuse me, this is, oh my gosh, this is a link to 2019. I stand corrected. So I had provided everyone via email a link to this year's participant resources. I just had not updated the slide, so apologies. We do have those background materials here. I've provided some comments on agent-based models that particularly comment on equity implications of those models. For those who are not aware of my research and commitments of our lab, our lab puts a lot of effort into use of dynamic modeling and data science techniques as well to address issues of health equity and health disparities. And some of our models that will be showcased in this bootcamp, including a couple involving COVID-19, one involving water, really highlight some of those components. But these comments also include notes on sort of the implications of agent-based modeling for health equity concerns. Beyond those, though, we have some step-by-step tutorials. These are often are of interest to participants just working to build early skills with AnyLogic. They are different from our in-class exercises. And if you're hoping to get going with AnyLogic, I cannot think of a better resource than these. There are resources from AnyLogic, the corporation, online as well, but these all focus on health concerns and involve building up health models. Yes, Wade?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. The email link to the resources is 29.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. Thank you. Okay. Pardon me as I just reflect on this for a second. Wade, if you use this tiny URL with the Bootcamp 2022 materials, does that go to the proper? Well, I'll be okay. Okay. My mind goes to 3 different etiologies why that might have come about, but I'm not going to go that way right now. We will get that fixed pronto during the first health break. My apologies. Fascinating dysfunction. Okay, so thank you for highlighting that for me. I wish I had an easy way to frob it right now, but I guess you can stand on and gawk, and I will get this to you shortly. So we have step-by-step tutorials that I've noted. We also have hands-on assistance, which for no good reason is 2 layers deep, which provides a bunch of sort of guidance for AnyLogic, in particular for common tasks, use of AnyLogic functions for certain needs, as well as some more conceptual things like hallmarks suggesting a complex science approach might be worthwhile for certain types of problems. Beyond that, we have some open-ended challenges, which are more, they're less cut and dry, and as the name would suggest, they require sort of more thoughtful engagement. There's no one right answer with them. Model conceptualization will be particularly important for those, well, anyone pursuing projects, but in the immediate term, those pursuing the incubator component of this. We're going to be having some model conceptualization exercises, which will center around these resources here. But I like to think that it's a good set for people starting out on an agent-based modeling journey in any case. Lecture slides is currently blank, but will be stocked with increasing quantities of slides as time goes on. We have a set of Java tutorials, which I've heard some interest in me delivering again, or myself or one of my TAs. And we'll be doing that if there is that demand. Perhaps the most notable thing here is example models, which are nothing if not voluminous. We have compiled together models, and we'll probably add a few more to this as the bootcamp goes on, from a wide variety of different areas of health. Zoonoses, environmental epi, chronic disease epi, communicable disease epi, behavioral epi, quite a broad set of issues are represented here. And I would note that some of these folders themselves have additional models within them. For example, the hybrid models area has dozens of models specifically on hybrid techniques. I wanted to emphasize that because it's been a point of particular interest as expressed in the pre-survey, and you will find, a good half dozen to a dozen different approaches to hybrid modeling represented here. Okay, so those are all available for free use. If people want to use them and take them to publication, I'd welcome that. It would be nice to have some sort of attribution to note their origin, but really these are freely distributed for people's learning. And some of these, starting in our first session in just a few minutes, we're going to be exploring together. Okay. So back to the salt mines in the form of the slides here. And I'll try to wrap up so that we can get on to some interactive components. Okay. TAs. This bootcamp would offer little value were it not for the stalwart set of TAs who are supporting it. And some of those TAs, the more early risers, I might surmise, are here now. Some will, for anyone watching, hopefully diffuse in throughout the morning. Some are remote, so not able to be here in person. For example, Marvi, Jalen are attending remotely as they live across the country. These TAs will be accompanying you throughout the bootcamp in a couple of different roles. You'll see them for some case studies. They'll be assisting you with ad hoc questions that come up in-class exercises, but you should also feel free to grab them for the step-by-step tutorial challenges that I provided to you in those participant materials. All of those have been reviewed by TAs, and they're familiar with them. They could also help work with you to understand any of the example models provided. And I think in general, they will offer formidable value as points of consultation for you when you think about pursuing your own projects. I want to talk a little bit about, and oh no, it's out of order, and okay, I don't even see it clearly, the slide on it, but a key part of their role will be in incubator projects. Some of you, those in the room in particular, are here to participate in the incubator. I'm incredibly excited about getting that going, starting today, and making sure that progress is made every day towards your incubator goals. Now, part of that is going to involve my oversight, but an even more important part will involve pairing with TAs, okay? And each incubator project, we're going to have one or more TAs assigned to that who will be helping advance the project along. Now, those incubator projects are, in my view, an equal priority for those attending in person to the lectures. And I want to communicate that if at any point you want to depart from the printed schedule, those in the room, and take a TA and go off and work in your incubator projects, you're encouraged to do so. Okay, so if you feel that that's where the greatest learning is for you, go and take advantage of that. Okay, so please be empowered to do that. And to that end, I have provided in the participant materials, and for those who are signed up for the incubator, a list of TA contact information, so you can reach out and contact them. That should be something you should always feel empowered to do. Okay, speaking about the incubator, I want to orient those in the room to the physical surrounds. Okay, so we're currently in this red room here, and I am standing up here in this blue oval in said red room, the incubator will be using these rooms that are shaded blue here throughout the designated sessions, but they're available for your use at any time. Again, if you want to grab a TA. These rooms are basically, I'm going to try to kind of orient you. So this wall here, this wall is this one. And so the doors are in the back. And if you want to get to the incubator room, you go out, you turn left, and then you walk through this lab, and you can either go to your right and where there's a big lab with tons of computers, or you go to the right, go to the left or go to the right. And these incubator rooms are there. Okay. Those will be key points of activity, and a TA can work with you in there. Just while we're on this topic, a few other comments on the physical surrounds. So the food is out here in the corridor, as you've discovered. If you want washrooms, they're down the road down the corridor to the left. For those from the U.S., those are restrooms down at the far end of the corridor and on the right-hand side. And there's a water fountain just out sort of across this open area right around here. So you should be able to get that. If you need to make phone calls and so on, there's a lounge down here, which it says student lounge, but the students are currently in abeyance, and you can make use of that lounge. It's basically through the wall over there, but you just walk to the right out of here. I think those are all the essentials. For those here in person, we'll be taking lunch over at a place called Marcus Hall, and each day you'll be provided a lunch voucher to get in for lunch. Okay, so breakfast and lunch are on us, and with the lunch vouchers, the preferred kind of mode of using them to spare you trouble is to head over with a TA, and the TA will take care of all the lunch voucher administrivia with the person at the entrance. If you need to head over separately, that's fine. Just come and get a lunch voucher. They're marked by the day. So you'll need to get one for that day, and you can go over and hand it to the cashier at the front yourself. But if you go over with the TA, you can see where to go, and they can take care of all of that. You can just walk in. Anyway, those are a few things. Just one or two other things. If you've brought items, this room will be locked during the lunch hour. Okay. There will be times where I'll be here attending to, in Santa's workshop, attending to the next round of bootcamp needs, in which case, I'll make sure the doors are locked and your valuables can be left here just fine. So this room, you can view it as something that's, is watched out for. So you can leave jackets and that sort of thing here. Okay, I guess that's much of the physical sort of administrivia. Any questions about that from the people here in person? Are there any questions I could answer just on sort of orientation in the physical spaces? Nothing? Okay. Oh, if you have dietary requests, we did, I think, ask in a more open-ended way about needs in the pre-survey, but if you have any dietary requests, if you'd like food of a certain sort, gluten-free, more vegan options, additional options with protein, whatever they are, let us know, and we'll try to make sure that we can accommodate those outside, and we'll try to work with Marcus Hall to make sure that you can be provided according to your needs. Okay, great. Okay, so IT essentials, yes. So again, for those in the classroom, the machines are installed with AnyLogic, okay? All of you who are here in person should have received a name tag. And on the back, the obverse of the name tag is your username and password for these machines, okay? So you should be able to take that and log in with those passwords. Sorry, I'm laughing, but the passwords are chosen in a most unlikely fashion. I think there's cubed lemon toast was one of them, and there's a variety of others. You probably only see one, but I could assure you that if you saw the full list, your mirth would grow significantly. Yeah. So bear in mind that those are logins for these machines. Now, they will be associated with an account which will follow you from machine to machine. So you don't have to worry, like, you got to use that same machine and your files are on that machine. No, it'll follow your account around. So you consider whatever machine you want to day to day, okay? And your files will be there. But please bear in mind that information is not designed, contrary to some past years, for use with the Wi-Fi network, okay? So this should be expunged. You're gonna use U of S guest, and U of S guest is your Wi-Fi. Is that correct, TAs? It's U of S guest, not U of S public, correct? Guest, okay, yeah. It was.
Yeah, you just have to accept whatever the little director page. The other one had a username and password.
Okay, so good to know. So you said you use public, actually. Okay, what are the TAs for U of S guest? Okay, so I'm just going to say public because we know it works, and we'll get this sorted out. I appreciate it, but if one of the TAs could sort of go deeper on this, if necessary, talk to the tech staff and figure out what's going on with that, that would be good. Thank you for the feedback, really helpful. Okay, I think that's all with IT. If you need something printed, talk with me and we'll get it printed, okay? Or talk with one of the TAs and they'll work with me or the tech staff to get it printed. Okay. So I think we're done with the administrative review, okay? Now for the fun. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, great. So let's jump into